Hello, welcome to arttutorialsonline.com. My name is Paul Priestley and today we're going to be investigating negative space. I'm going to be using the spaces between my wonderful chair here and I'm going to be drawing it with a biro. So, let's make a start. To draw this very unusual chair, what I'm going to do is to just draw the outline shapes of this thing here. I'm just coming down here, I'm just drawing the back of it. I'm not pressing on too hard, although I will press on a bit harder so you can actually see what I'm doing. About a third of the way up round about here, I'm going to draw the section here. Now, remember what I'm concentrating on here is negative space. We're looking for the shapes between the chair and its background. Okay, a little section coming in here. See, I'm just checking that that's slower than that. You'll see here. I've got a little block on the front. Yeah, and I've got another that comes down here, but a little bit shorter. Line in between here, and a little block sticks out here. There we are. And got a block that comes back from here up to here. And the hole I can see through here. So I've got one of the arms in, but the other one is just below here. Comes out a little bit, curves back in again, and part comes down here. We're getting the basic shape of this thing drawn. I'm looking for the sections I can see through this. We've also got over here my little trolley, which comes down to here. Little lines. See, all I'm doing is I'm just drawing very simply the outlines of these things. I'm not drawing any detail. Don't draw the detail. We don't need detail. Line coming across here, and we've got these coming down. It's about here. It's a bit lower. We've got another shelf on here. So, and I've got lots of brushes in here. So stick some of those up there. We've got another pot about there. I think I'm just going to leave that little section we're going to just as it is. But what I'm going to concentrate on now is the negative space, not the details. With the rest of the drawing I'm going to use a biro, just simply so it stands out a little bit more. And I'm just going to scribble, and I'm going to concentrate on the negative spaces, the spaces you can see through the object. Most people spend their time drawing all the nice detail and such like, when in fact what we really need to do is to just concentrate on the negative spaces, because you can produce a really interesting drawing. What you've got to remember is, if you think of a piece of music, the music's only interesting if you can hear the spaces between the music. You won't be able to hear the notes if they're all run together all the time. So sometimes if we look at the spaces between, it can make things look really quite interesting. So I'm just concentrating on these shapes. I am not going to any detail at all. You might come down here, look, side of my piece. You can see it all the way up here as well. Okay, and I'm just going to scribble it in. Scribbling it. Just be quite free with it. Don't concentrate too much on any detail. I'm just going to. I want to see the shapes between the objects. Okay, so I might take this little bit here. Look, you see now we're coming along here. Here again, and you can see how the image begins to start to take shape. Because you're concentrating on the negative space rather than the positive space, the object, it begins to start looking much more interesting. So I might come down here, you see, because there's lots of interesting shapes between your drawing. As I'm doing this, you see the drawing begins to develop and it begins to look really quite interesting. It's a little bit of cross-hatching, you see, to begin to make your drawings looking good. And what you begin to see is your chair begins to emerge, you see, or whatever object you do, because you can use any objects really, it doesn't matter. Just doing this exercise is really quite interesting. See, I've got this space all the way down here. You see my chair is beginning to emerge, which is really exciting stuff. So you're constantly looking for these shapes, and what you find is that you can begin to see how the image begins to emerge, because sometimes if you think about it, the background to your image is just as important as the object itself. So rather than spending all your time drawing all the detail and whatever else might be in your piece, why not spend your time concentrating on the background, because you can produce some really interesting drawings when you take the focus away from the object and you concentrate on the areas behind the object. You see how these shapes are beginning to emerge. You see, I've got some brushes in here. And all I'm doing, I'm just suggesting these. You see, I'm not actually putting any detail on at all. You see, we don't need detail. Look, we're scribbling bits in between. And there you can see. Oh, picking up some dirty marks now off there, but we've just got all this on the tops of these. Okay, I've got another little rectangle in here. You see, I'm beginning to suggest the shelf on here now, just by doing these rectangles here. Let's put all this section in here. Now you imagine when you're doing things like this, you see, you're just simply suggesting the shapes. The whole drawing takes on quite a different feel. You know, the chair looks much more sort of, in some ways, monumental now, or interesting. You see, all I'm doing is just scribbling through these shapes here. Edge of the chair. There we are. See, my chair's beginning to emerge. What you end up with now is this much more interesting design. It makes your work look so much more appealing as well. We'll just go around this little section here now, down here, look. It creates a nice dynamic drawing. These are the sort of drawings you can be doing in your sketchbook. You know, going out, sketching things, looking for the shapes, training your eye to not just look at objects, but to look at the shapes around those objects. Because those are the things which define your object, you see. Without the negative space, you won't have an object. You see, it's quite an interesting idea, really. You know? So we need to just concentrate on those sort of things. So you can see how this drawing is beginning to emerge from the background. We simply take out all these lines now and just leave it as a negative shape, you see. And you could just do that. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. We've investigated negative shape. Don't forget, look for the shapes between the objects, because they're exciting too. You've been watching arttutorialsonline.com. My name is Paul Priestley. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel. If you've really enjoyed the video, then perhaps you could share it with your friends. Cheers.